I saw this when you forget you recorded your own crime. That's what
I don't know if you all have looked through my phone yet and seen any of the pictures and the videos that I have taken.
I had taken her.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
I don't want to watch it, please.
This is the moment detectives confront Sarah Boone with a video she claims to have
refuses
no
to
memory
watch
of
it.
recording. In it, just
She
48
recorded the
hours
video.
prior, she taunts her partner of 3 years, George Torres Jr., and ignores his pleas for help as he asphyxiates to death inside a suitcase. Forensic evidence indicates George was trapped inside the suitcase for up to 11 hours or more, and at some point was pushed down the stairs
Down the
while trapped
stairs.
inside.
That's just insane.
I just got here, so fill me in.
No problem. Like,
Yeah,
me and I were putting a puzzle together. We've been doing some artwork together.
You are putting a puzzle together?
Yes, we have a puzzle that we started in there.
Okay.
We've been doing art, trying to take stuff off the wall to make new art put up there, like having a good time with one another. But we're drinking. We had a bottle of wine last night. Okay. So
You know,
then
this is not suspicious
trying
about
to
you.
play hide and seek, right?
Okay.
So he gets in the suitcase. Okay.
Who is this guy?
That's my ex-husband, my former husband.
How did he live here with you guys?
No, I called him over here.
Okay, okay,
I didn't know what to do.
okay,
I didn't know what to do.
okay.
So then he came over here.
Here, let's talk in private, okay?
I called you guys. I tried giving you CPR. The problem is I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
Just like that.
This morning, when I found
You
it.
just forgot to post it.
Yes.
It's 1 o'clock right now.
I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the
Oh,
bed.
that was loud.
12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. And that's when I found him, and I took him out. I tried doing CPR, and then I called him, and then I called you.
Now, why she's acting
Fire department down here?
Who?
Your husband or your ex-husband?
Yes.
Okay.
her hands and all?
Right down the street.
Okay.
That's just
So
weird.
you were playing and who zipped him up in
I did, but then I fell asleep.
Okay, okay, you're okay. I wasn't here. I'm just trying to figure out what
This
happened.
was with eyes.
Suffocated or like had an aneurysm or a heart attack or
What
what?
kind of medical conditions does he have?
None that I know of. But like, I don't.
It's a medical conditions too.
Not intentional
His age, no real medical history that
that
we
I know of.
For him to have passed away, we come out
I
and we do an
know.
investigation. We come out and do an investigation.
The day after her partner's body was discovered, Sarah drives herself to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. She believes she's there to provide detectives Chelsea Connolly and Scott Lowen with background information on her and George's time together. As the interview progresses, the couple's volatility will become clear. At the outset, the detectives follow standard best interrogation practice, positioning Sarah's chair farthest from the door of the interview room. This is a
You try to
technique
press her-
familiar to those accustomed to police interrogations, which
She's
in
on the
theory
corner,
blocks
so-
the suspect's exit to increase the sensation of feeling trapped.
We were informed of some injuries
There's
that he
no-
had by the doctor. So,
She said go down there first.
so he had some injuries to his left shoulder. He had a cut near his lip. We could see his mouth was a little.
I haven't laid a
swollen.
hand on him.
Okay. He also had
Oh, she said
like on the left side of his forehead, he had
you have to
basically
believe her now.
bruising, and on like his head and skull,
I have no idea.
as if something hit him.
I
Considered
have not
blunt force
touched him.
trauma.
When the detectives dive straight into
might be true.
autopsy results, listing
Because
George's
he
injuries,
was
Sarah
down there.
becomes defensive almost immediately. She is quick to interject with verbal deflections of guilt while raising her hands in the air, as if to demonstrate she has nothing to hide. This interaction foreshadows the rest of the interview, as Sarah becomes increasingly adamant in her efforts to refute any willful involvement in George's death.
Oh no, you said you guys have been good. What's your definition?
I've been good. I don't think you all understand. He comes at me all the time. He comes at me. So
Accusing
it's either I
Tatya.
flee or try to go upstairs and go to sleep.
This
That's
is
usually
not
what it is. I don't
normally
know to talk to Brian about any of that, but most of the time when
for
I sleep,
someone
I go over there.
you love type.
So
Right, but you're saying that you guys have been good, and when I asked you yesterday, there hasn't, the last incident that you could remember was the curtain rod incident, which you said was a month ago. So,
give or take,
right. So what do you mean by he comes after you? Like,
he gets belligerently drunk.
mhm.
Like I don't know if you all have looked through my phone yet and seen any of the pictures and the videos that I have taken.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, I started documenting everything.
Okay.
So you all will see in my pictures,
Yeah,
bloody
you
fingers,
recorded,
split
she recorded
forehead,
video.
he split my nose. I've got this.
Right.
I don't know if Brian told you about it, where I had to have I had one really bad surgery, but then it got really, 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 really bad, where I had to go like 4 or 5 more times afterwards for them to tend to it. From him poking me in the back of the leg.
Right.
So it's...
Why are you still with him?
Everybody asks me that. When I tell you guys this,
She might be in Stockholm.
I really love him. Like I do. And I feel like I can help him. Like I feel
Why kill him
like I
though?
could help him, which I did, because he came a really long way from where he was in Philadelphia to moving back to here and to dealing with everything else that he's been dealing with. I've really helped him. I've bailed him out of jail, 3 times. I've gone to every single hearing and every single arraignment, everything that I did for him. Gone to see all his
The
public
emotion went out really quick.
state. I've gone to the state. I did everything for him because I'm trying to help him, because I had hope in him. And he was trying. He was really trying. And then he starts to think about things, and I think he gets overwhelmed, and then it's like, next thing I know, he's drinking. So it's like, oh man, I know where this is going to go, so I'm going to go upstairs and read a book, or I'm going to go for a bike ride, or I'm going to do something else. Where I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink. The occasional wine, whatever, or if it's a weekend,
She can drink it.
that's when you have a good time. You don't have to wake up the next day. I have to wake up the next day and do things. I have to tend to Lucas. I have to take him to school. I have all this stuff to do. He doesn't know how to, I guess, maintain himself, where I can do 50 things at once and still know the 50 things more previously prior that I need to get done.
The narcissist is insane on this one.
Like that. So he would literally, not literally, but have smoke coming out of his ears. So the next thing you know, he doesn't want to deal with it.
She can handle everything.
So the majority of the time, I would hang out outside or do something else because I don't want to drink.
When Sarah lists everything she's done for George, she's positioning herself as the savior figure within the relationship, the omnipotent partner who is the only one capable of rescuing their vulnerable, inept companion. By taking credit for George's adherence to his probation requirements, Sarah implies he could not have succeeded without her. This dynamic is consistent with how a narcissistic person exerts control in a relationship. They stake sole claim over understanding what their partner needs and how to give it to them. The more dangerous evolution of this belief is a narcissistic partner believing they have the right to dole out punishment. By this logic, if Sarah can manifest George's successes, she is entitled to discipline him for his failures. While there is no evidence to suggest Sarah has been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, it's reasonable to assert she does display narcissistic traits during this interview. A truthful confession is unlikely, no matter how sound the evidence. Instead, the detective's dissection of her story unmasks Sarah as an unreliable narrator. If they are unable to obtain a confession, this footage will still expose Sarah's lies and inconsistencies to a jury.
Well, yesterday you made it sound like you guys were just drinking like a glass or two. Like, yeah, you obviously had the bottle, but you told me on recording, like, that you were not drunk, he was not drunk, you guys were having a good time.
I can't get drunk. Number one, I do not want to get drunk. I don't like being non-complimentous, having my wits about myself. I don't like feeling out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm just saying, you're making it sound like he's a raging alcoholic today, and yesterday I was kind of asking you those questions, and you're like a little defensive, like, no, we're not alcoholics.
I'm not.
We are not, you know. But you guys were both sober on Sunday, to your knowledge, because when I said you went and passed out, you were like, no, I didn't pass out, I just fell asleep. So now it's kind of like, what is it? Were you guys drinking and it got out of hand and it got physical? Or is it...
Sunday was one of the better days that we have had in quite some time.
While Sarah vehemently disputes Connolly's questions about her alcohol consumption, she only succeeds in backing herself into a corner. It's fair to speculate she denies intoxication out of fear the police will use this against her, a fear that will prove justified. Preoccupied with preserving her image as a mature, long-suffering partner, Sarah fails to notice contradictions that will later come into play as important pieces of the detective's offensive game. Throughout the interview, Sarah alludes to loving George. However, her lack of emotional engagement is evident from her initial 911 call.
Some medical. My boyfriend is dead. Okay, send the line for the fire department. Do not hang up.
George's autopsy reveals his cause of death as positional asphyxia, which occurs when the position of a person's body interferes with their ability to breathe. It is a relatively rare cause of death characterized by a gradual reduction in consciousness as the amount of air available to the lungs decreases.
Yes, slowly as
Positional asphyxia is a
This
painful, slow,
Yeah.
and doubtlessly terrifying
is
way to die.
the way to die.
Pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count out loud for me, okay?
1, 2, 3. This is no.
Okay, ma'am, just keep on pumping his chest. That's all you need to do for me, okay?
Doesn't seem like she's doing it.
Come on, please, hurry up.
Okay, ma'am, they're driving here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop.
I don't see
Hurry
any
up. Just keep on
breathing.
pumping and counting.
I'm still doing it while I'm talking to you, okay?
Okay.
I don't think so with that talking voice.
Still doing it.
All right, just continue pumping his chest. Count on, I'll take a count with you.
1.
I think she's just touching him. That's it.
Keep pumping his chest for me, ma'am.
I'm still doing it, okay?
You're not able to talk like that if you're doing it.
Right, okay, that's fine. You did a good job. Just keep on doing it for me. That's all right. They're getting there as fast as they can, along with the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
Okay. Keep on pumping, ma'am. 1,
We were playing hide
2,
and seek.
3.
Bearing in mind the horrific discovery Sarah claims to have made upon waking, it's even more telling how irritated she becomes by the 911 operator. Her tendency to place concern for herself above all else is made even more evident from body cam footage of police's arrival at their home.
I really need something to drink.
Okay,
I got my Dr. Pepper on the counter.
okay, we'll take care of you. Give me 1 second.
They really want it now. I mean,
May I have my Dr. Pepper? I am so
time and place.
Just give us a second, okay? We gotta,
Somebody else on that call
it's on the counter. I can't move anything from out of the house.
This is just so weird.
Here, I want you to sit down because I don't want you passing out. This is probably a lot for you to deal
I
with,
need
right? Sit,
May
I
I have
don't.
water? Just water.
I can get you some water, okay? Just I want you.
What was
to
that?
because I don't want you passing out on me.
I need, please, I need water.
Sarah displays many of the characteristic body language signifiers of stress which are noticeable to even the most casual observer. Physical reactions, such as wringing hands and speaking in a rushed, high-pitched tone, are normal responses to a highly stressful situation. But Sarah barely acknowledges that her partner has just died a painful, terrifying death. Instead, her repeated questions for Dr. Pepper further demonstrate how focused she remains on her own needs.
What do you tell his parents? Like, what's the reason he passed away?
We tell them
And this is so obvious for one of them.
And that we're going to be waiting for the autopsy results, and I will be at the autopsy in the morning, and hopefully the doctor will be able to give me some of what they think and see.
They're going to think I killed him.
why would they think that?
They always have said that. They've always have said that.
What have they
I
said?
told you it's because I'm the blue-eyed white dragon. That's what they call me. Because they don't want him with me.
A what
So he's
dragon?
basically just not really been around his family.
Blue-eyed white dragon. She's
While anyone can display strange behavior when in shock, Sarah's preoccupation with how this event will reflect upon her evokes a darker concern. In a relationship eventually characterized by domestic violence, the abuser often employs the tactic of coercive control to isolate, exploit, and control their victim. This is reflected in Sarah's concern regarding what George's parents will be told. As she has no control over how this will unfold, Sarah becomes preoccupied with regaining control through information. For her to maintain her savior facade, it's imperative that what George's parents are told does not contradict her carefully constructed simulation of a loving, supportive partner. While Sarah affects some moments of sadness, her body language and word choices, such as already characterizing George's death as not intentional, are incongruent with shock or grief.
But like, I don't like this.
I don't think saying that not intentional helps anyone.
What she appears more concerned with doing here is setting up the early stages of her defense. As the interview progresses, elements of covert narcissism appear in the way Sarah presents herself. When people hear the term narcissist, they might think of pop culture figures such as Walter White, Miranda Priestley, and Cersei Lannister, whose egregious behaviors leave no doubt as to their grandiose view of self above all others. On the surface, while traditional narcissists appear to enjoy high self-esteem, in reality, it is very fragile. In covert narcissism, this fragility manifests through defensive behavior, masking insecurity, as opposed to the inflated sense of self-esteem, deflecting criticism.
I have not touched him. I have not touched him.
How would you get those injuries?
Tell me and we'll both know. I have not touched him. It was.
But you said it was a good day. Like, you guys didn't have any.
She pushed the suitcase down the stairs.
Conversations about your relationship. You guys didn't go down like the rabbit
so many
hole.
injuries
Like,
on
had
the
too many to
head
drink,
and all.
and you guys start getting.
No, when I tell you this, it made me so happy that he actually listened to what I had to say.
Did you guys have a conversation about your relationship, or was it just about
just
like
what's going on right now?
Got it.
I tried to evoke it from him so he gets it off his chest, because I call him the volcano where eventually he's going to erupt.
Right.
And what he has learned in his classes is to communicate, which is a huge thing in a relationship.
More like
where
she
he
erupted.
has been practicing communication, so he actually talks to me about things and unburdens himself. Put it on me. I'll sit there and try and figure it out for you, like I have almost everything. Not a worry. Just tell me. Get it out of you.
Without realizing it, Sarah has described the classic relationship wherein a narcissistic person seeks out a codependent partner to fuel their need to feel special and wanted. When she preaches that communication is a huge thing in a relationship, Sarah co-opts the language of healthy partner dynamics to signal her status as the mature, functional adult. A common narcissistic trait is to isolate a partner and make them feel they alone are trustworthy and safe. By positioning herself as the emotionally intelligent partner to whom George can unburden himself, Sarah is unwittingly exposing herself as his manipulator.
Nobody knew George better than
loss.
I say that I knew George better than himself. And I tried in every way, shape, and form. Ask everyone. I helped him. I took care of him. I miss him a lot.
I mean, is there any chance it got to be too much for you and you
Hey, what was that?
taking care of him and
I never stopped. I never stopped. That's what I'm here for. I never stopped. I'm here now because I'm still trying to help him.
Yeah, we just don't. I mean, it's unexplainable how he got these injuries, and
I have no idea.
you were the only one with him.
100% right hand.
Okay.
I have no idea how he got them.
God.
Nobody touched anybody. Nobody touched anybody.
Surely.
I even went down and met his probation officer, which I say she's wonderful. That's one of my questions too I need to talk to you about. Hugged me and said how much she knows that I take care of him. She called me personally one time when George was at work, when he was working. 42-minute phone call. She and I just saying how grateful she is that George has me. And she knows how hard I'm working to help him, just as she is and just as the classes will.
Sarah's hyper-specific recollection of George's probation officer hugging her and their subsequent phone conversation is telling. Though a one-off event,
she
Sarah
remembers
latches onto this
specific
evidence of her
conversation.
virtue, to the point she recalls the exact duration of 42 minutes. By signifying the esteem in which she's held by George's probation officer, Sarah aligns herself with authority and reinforces her belief she is the superior partner in their relationship.
So it's not like I ever got like a break from him where I told you all yesterday or whenever it was. I started to feel that it was too much togetherness And when you have too much togetherness, friction happens. So I'm going to go ride my bike. I'm going to go upstairs and read a book. But what does he say? Every waking moment he wants to be with me. So, and mind you, our townhome is either upstairs or downstairs. So it's like, if you would like to sit downstairs and watch a movie or play on the laptop, look up some jobs, you're more than welcome to. I'm just going to be upstairs, maybe watching one of my shows or maybe reading a book. So, and then when that would happen, we really needed that. So what's for dinner? And then we would cook together and eat dinner and then crawl in the bed and watch a movie.
It's worth taking note of the honeymoon periods Sarah describes. Abusive relationships often follow a cycle of building up and releasing tension, followed by a peaceful phase that makes the conflict seem tolerable, even worthwhile. A person with potentially codependent traits, such as George, may inwardly justify staying in dysfunctional relationships by telling themselves things could be worse. Based on this analysis of Sarah's disclosures, it's highly possible George and Sarah were living within a dynamic of narcissistic enmeshment. A distinct imbalance of power characterizes this kind of relationship, wherein one partner blames the other for the relationship's shortcomings, with little insight or remorse into their own actions. This is evidenced by Sarah's repeatedly insisting she and George enjoyed a healthy relationship, despite court records of violent incidents on both sides. Their history of domestic violence indicates a cycle of abuse and reconciliation, with both parties alternating between aggressor and victim.
So he doesn't know the password and he doesn't have the facial recognition. No, he is the only other person that would use your phone, I'm assuming, other than
Lucas.
Right. But Lucas wasn't there Sunday. Right. So, to your recollection, no videos on Sunday?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, I have something that I want to show you that we found.
Oh no.
And
There's video evidence.
it was from your phone. You see it?
Is that Is the immediately over case, said and done case.
No, I don't remember that.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me.
Your battery's about to die.
Okay.
Oh.
So bad. This laptop.
I don't think you all understand who I am.
Well, tell me.
I mean, I've always been a straight A student. I am an outstanding mother to my son. I excel at everything.
Grandiose.
You wouldn't lock somebody in a suitcase?
Well, I didn't completely lock it. I mean, I opened it with one finger. I left enough in there for him to get out.
Okay.
And I wasn't planning on going upstairs and going to sleep.
Okay. No, it's just the way you said it.
You guys are scaring me.
Why?
Yeah, why is this scary you, man?
Don't you want to know what's on it?
Yes, please.
She recorded the video. She obviously knows.
Is it long? Because I don't know how much I can take.
No.
Do I have to watch this?
And this is not a hard
I
drive.
continuously throw up. I don't sleep. I don't want to see it. That's okay.
Well, it's on your phone, and you can either explain it or we take it for what it is.
Yeah. We're just trying to give you the opportunity to tell us what's going on. That's it.
I want to see it.
It's that long?
2 minutes.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me. Fuck you.
And that's you.
Yes, that's disturbing.
Stupid. That's my name. Don't wear it on. Yeah, that's when you do it. You show me.
Yes. What a psycho.
I don't want to watch it, please.
Last time we talked to you, you had said that you put him in the suitcase, he had 2 fingers hanging out.
And that's where it was.
There's 2 different videos and a still picture where, yeah, it shows you flipping him in different positions and him saying that he can't breathe and you saying fuck you.
So this is upside down. So in order for him to have gotten into it,
It was flipped up.
right, it was flipped up normal.
Yes.
Like as if you're packing something. So this is upside down.
Guys, this is killing me right now.
So this image, it's upside down.
Oh, sí, sí. This
and
and this.
this small video that occurred 11 minutes later, it's flipped over the other way.
When the detectives tell Sarah she can explain the video, or they'll take the footage at face value, Sarah cannot help but play into their hands. Her desire to control the narrative is simply too great. Given her previous claims she was not drunk the night George died, her obvious inebriation in the video puts her in a vulnerable position. It's now become even more obvious the minimization of her alcohol consumption was not based on honest recollection, but motivated by her desire to reject culpability in George's gruesome, painful death. Due to this vulnerability, Sarah pivots to her favorite comfort zone, extolling her intelligence through the bizarre mention of her straight A's and claiming she excels at everything. She is now desperate to win back the approval of her interrogators, a dynamic the detectives can exploit.
Well, that's what you did.
Yeah.
But not intentional.
No, you told me you went upstairs because
That's it. No, this now.
Stopped here.
Okay, but
Where's here?
It's over.
show me where you can see any fingers coming out, because there's the end.
It's, and his head's right here.
Mm-hmm.
So going like this, rather than going all the way up, it's like this.
But why is he saying I can't breathe, and why is he pushing on it as if he can't get out?
And it doesn't show a hole.
There's no hole. There's no fingers. I don't see his fingers. There's no hole.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I don't know, like, what you want me to tell you.
He's begging for you to let him out. You're laughing in the beginning, and then in the end, it sounds kind of like a...
No, it's not malicious.
Well, saying fuck you.
It's
That's
not
it.
malicious.
Not malicious. No, this
What
now.
does fuck you mean to you?
It's over.
Like if I were to tell my
Like he
partner...
does. Like, I get told everything but a white woman, so...
White or man?
My intention was not to leave
What does
him
that have to
in
do
there.
with the intent?
Please understand that. My intention was not to leave him in there.
But you went upstairs thinking that he could get himself
Yes.
out, but the video shows
That's what I
at no
told
point
you.
can I see his fingers.
He'll be up here any minute.
And then 30 minutes later, he didn't show.
And he's telling you
And I
he
didn't
can't
wake
breathe.
up.
Do you think
not
he's
able to get out.
joking? You told me he was laughing, and
We were
the
before.
video, there's no
When he
laughing.
first got in there, both of us were.
So how long was he in there for? Like, this video is at 11:12 when it starts, so was he in there for like a long time prior to recording this?
No. No.
So it goes from funny to no longer funny,
But
and
I
you're the
didn't-
only one laughing.
But I didn't think that he was, like, panicky. Like,
So pushing up on a suitcase saying, Sarah, 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 I can't breathe.
George has done that in the past before, too, where it's just like he thinks that he's woe is me kind of thing, where it's like,
He's never been locked in a suitcase. That's
No.
where he couldn't get out. So
It's kind of, I thought it was
And
the
you know
like,
the oxygen-
crawling
It's been done
wolf,
before.
crying wolf kind of thing.
okay.
And
He's
again,
just
my plan,
abusing. He made his
Nowhere in
point.
there is he laughing. Is he
Or
joking?
multiple
He's
times.
begging. And you're the only one laughing.
okay,
And you're the only one saying derogatory comments. Like you're mad.
no, please don't, I don't mean to sound negative, and I don't know if I can say this, but like, it's
There's
like you
always
guys
a
are kind
but,
of trying to
huh?
like feed me. Like,
No, I'm just trying to show you a video that you no longer want to watch because you probably don't want to know the outcome of how and what you said.
well, I know what,
You know what's on that video now?
No.
You remember making that video?
no,
Why don't you remember making the video?
probably because we had been drinking.
But you weren't drunk.
Just because I went upstairs and just
You
because
told
you're
us-
drunk doesn't
you
mean
told us
that
several
you.
times that you were not
intentionally
drunk. You said that you had your wits about you.
go
You said you
on
had your
upstairs
wits about
and
you.
sleep.
You said that you don't like not having your wits. What do you think is going to happen if you leave somebody in a confined space like that?
Well, I thought by not zipping it up all the way, it would be okay. My plan was not.
This is a simple question. You can give and simple answer.
And then when he did it, I fell asleep.
You said you were up there 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, somebody not coming up.
Knowing that the last time you saw him was in the suitcase, 30 minutes later, you're like, maybe I should go check on him. Maybe I shouldn't.
No.
But that didn't cross your mind because
That's
it didn't happen.
that's like an assumption. Like that's what you all are thinking. Just
We're asking.
it's the
You
whole.
tell us.
It's the drinking. That's what it is. It's the drinking. I thought it was like, I thought he was okay. Like I didn't.
He's telling you he's not. He's telling you, Sarah, I can't breathe. He's saying your name and you're like, that's my name, don't wear it out.
Guys, that's how we are with each other. Like nobody understands our relationship. The whole suitcase thing.
I can see that.
Would you leave someone else in a suitcase? Would you leave Lucas in a suitcase jokingly? Because it was a joking matter. You put him in there jokingly. Would you leave Lucas jokingly in there? And you love Lucas, right? And you
I
love
wouldn't do
George.
that to him either. I wouldn't do that to him.
So I just.
Well, it's not like, again, I don't think you all understand. Like, it's that was not my intention. Y'all don't have any idea what I've done for him.
But by your acts, and that's exactly right. You get to the point where you've done so much for somebody and they don't show you any appreciation.
He did.
Up until this moment, Sarah has denied being intoxicated. Her slurring in the recording and even more damningly, forgetting it was on her phone, prove otherwise. This exchange also exposes the contradiction between Sarah's claim she left George able to escape and her subsequent pivot to blaming alcohol for passing out in bed. When Sarah refers to the detectives as guys, it reveals her belief that they are her equals, that she can still get them on side, much like George's probation officer, with whom she shared hugs and lengthy phone calls. Yet, as the interview progresses, the detective's refusal to buy into her camaraderie will chip away at her facade of charisma.
So if you weren't intoxicated, then why would you ever leave somebody in a suitcase that's begging to get out, that's telling you they can't breathe?
If I hadn't been drinking, you still think it would be the same thing? Where it's like, hop in, I'm going to go to sleep. Is that what you all are trying to do? To portray me as?
I'm not trying to do anything. I'm simply asking you to explain to me what happened.
Everything was fine and dandy.
I don't want to call it fine and dandy.
When someone is dead.
You all don't. Okay, for me to
husband.
tell you this, again, mind you, I've been without him for a day now. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you all want me to tell you because this was not in any way, shape, or form, hand on the Bible, intentional.
Okay. So you just left him there to
didn't kill him.
You left him there to teach him a lesson?
I didn't mean to leave him there. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You got up and walked away. How is that not intentionally leaving?
What's it
Because
did?
I'm looking at the hole, knowing that it's there. He'll get out no
Sleeping
harm.
on.
Because you don't.
Then he doesn't, but you don't go check on him. You say you're up for 30 minutes and he doesn't come up. You don't go down and check on him?
I'm in the bed.
You even moved.
And off.
You admit to moving the suitcase like over. So
You roll it.
You roll it out. Like it's not like.
I didn't want him to be like that. Don't.
You didn't want him to be upside down. How do you even get upside down?
Right. You guys are killing me right now.
Sarah cannot provide a reasonable answer to the detective's questions.
This is
so
a bit
instead
of evidence. So, I
responds
mean,
antagonistically, raising her voice in an attempt to verbally overpower her interrogators. This reaction is consistent with how a covert narcissist can behave during a narcissistic collapse, which occurs when the individual feels trapped or humiliated. It's also notable that Sarah's focus momentarily fractures as Detective Connolly begins playing the video once more. This serves to disrupt Sarah's train of thought to the extent she trails off and defaults to her stonewalling defense of, "I don't know what you want me to say." In one of Sarah's most incriminating slip-ups, she reveals the truth behind one of her most frequent rationalizations of George's death being unintentional.
I don't know. I don't know if you saw where the hole was. I don't know.
I didn't see a hole.
No
I
one
didn't
sees
see
the
no
hole.
fingers
You're the
sticking
only
out.
one that's what I'm saying. He's in one position, and where his head would be, we should be able to see fingers. And then when it's flipped over onto this right side, again, his head is closer to us facing the video, so we should be able to see fingers, and we don't see anything. We see no movement of him trying to unzip it or physically unzipping it. All we see is pushing up, trying to push out of it.
Please do not assume.
I'm not assuming. I haven't
And
assumed
this is the
anything.
time
I
with
have all evidence.
evidence.
I was trying to do CPR.
What's the time to convince?
And try to do CPR. And it was continually doing CPR with the dispatch on the phone
After 11 hours,
out loud to help me focus on what I was doing.
It just, I don't know how, I mean, you can sit here all day long and say, I thought he was going to get himself out, but that he didn't. And you went upstairs and you stayed there for 30 minutes before you fell asleep.
But can I say too,
You chose not to ever at any point during that 30 minutes walk back down and check on him.
No, wait 1 second. Because I know, with you all, and then, because you continually ask me, time frames, where I told you, I don't bother even looking at the clock most of the time. So it's a guesstimate. So for all I know, maybe it was 10 minutes.
Okay. But the point is, you left the living room where he was begging for help and went upstairs. Regardless of how long you were there, you left. You say,
I thought he was the boy calling wolf. Again.
Okay.
So when
what
he
calling
asked
wolf?
to be let out, what's your reasoning for not letting him out?
When I was upstairs?
No, when he's asking on the video, he asked multiple times. He asked to be let out. I can't breathe.
So obviously,
why didn't you let him out?
Well, number one, I had no idea it was going to end like that.
Okay.
Number one.
Okay.
Number two, just, you know what? I'll give you 5 minutes or so, and then I'll give you 5 minutes or so.
This is the chilling offhand comment that reveals
What does
Sarah's
it have a
claims
name?
that George could escape his suitcase prison to be untrue. While Sarah continues to reiterate her stance that George's death was unintentional, she is still arrested at the end. At this point,
obviously,
in the cruelest of ironies, she thinks nothing of raising her concerns she'll be placed in a small holding cell, not 48 hours after she zipped George into a far more confined space, which led to his death. It seems thus far that the prosecution process will be as frustratingly circular as this interrogation. Sarah's trial has now been rescheduled 4 times, and she is currently on her 6th attorney. Letters sent by Sarah to the court provide a glimpse into how she is able to present herself as competent and rational when the need arises.
it's going to depend.
When discussing her difficulty in communicating with her attorney, Sarah ponders if she's being penalized for wanting to be involved in everything in her case and intelligent enough to know her case is being handled. Sarah's trial is scheduled for the 10th of April 2023, after being rescheduled 3 times previously. This most recent delay was likely caused by her lawyer petitioning the court to be removed from her case. While it seems that both Sarah and George engaged in violent behavior through their relationship, it is George who died in the most horrific way on the night of the 23rd of February 2020. He was 42 years old and is survived by a very large family consisting of his parents, 3 children, and 9 siblings.
Forever changed.